Hey, everybody. Welcome to Listen.
Listen.
Listen. Welcome to Listen with Tania and Win for season 3. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching this live, we appreciate you. If you're catching this on a replay, we appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes, yes.
We are in season 3 of this show.
That's it.
So if it's your first time or if you haven't already, we're going to keep saying it over and over again. Make sure you go to our Facebook page, especially if that's how you found us tonight. Make sure you like our Facebook page, turn your notifications on, that little bell next to the notification option. Make sure you have that highlighted so you know every single time we go live. We have a YouTube channel, you guys. So make sure you go over there to YouTube when you're done. Don't go there now because it'll shut us off. So go later. Go
Right.
to our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe over there. Make sure you're able to see every single video from the first 2 seasons and the 5 episodes we have done in whew, this season
I
are
can't believe it.
all uploaded over there. I
Yes.
can't believe it either. This is crazy. And for those of you that are first timers or trying to figure out, okay, who are these two women? So we are blessed to be cousin sisters. Our dads are identical twins. Yes, identical. And they were actually on last week,
Mm-hmm.
but we both pointed last week. So if you haven't had a chance or don't have a clue who we are, what we're about, and that whole cousin sister thing, you can watch last week's episode on real in relationships because we were
That
blessed
was
to have
so
both
good.
sets of our parents
Yeah.
live in the studio last week with over 100 years of wisdom.
I'm
Whew.
sticking with the 150. I'm like, they're closer to 150 than they are 100. I'm sticking with it.
That is true. And so I am coming to you live tonight from the mid coast, as I love to call it. Coming to you live from Texas. And my cousin sister over here is coming from.
Right, right, right. I'm coming from Maryland and just thank you all for joining us each and every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central in the Mid Coast.
Yes. And as our Facebook page says, this show promises to be real, relevant, and relational. We don't have that R in there, but we promise to be relational as well. So thanks
Right.
for joining us. So tonight we are picking up from our series we did on obedience. And before I know, right? before, before we get even before we jump into that. So this is our third and as far as God has said, our final night on obedience. But
Right.
as you all will learn about us, we follow the cloud, as my cousin sister Wynn loves to say. We follow God and
Yeah.
whatever He's telling us to do. So for right now, it's at 3 episodes, and we'll see. So this is our third one tonight, but the past 2 episodes are still available for replay on both Facebook and YouTube. And
Right.
so the first episode we did on obedience, the part one, was on um,
God's
God's
will.
will.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
powerful. It was setting up the stage to let people know obedience is just not obedience. It's about God's will.
right. Knowing it, understanding it.
Hmm.
What in the world is it?
That part.
Right? What does it look like in your life? How does it show up? So if you haven't had a chance to watch that, you'll want to join that conversation. That was from 3 weeks ago.
It was.
Then we did part two. Part
Hmm.
two, when you want to tell them what part two was about?
So that was obedience as a lifestyle. So understanding it's not just about being in God's will, but now walking it out every day. What does that look like in your life? Right. So that's episode 2 of the second part of the obedience series there.
Right, right. And then, so like we already said, we took a break last Tuesday.
Hmm.
just to have the amazing parentals live in the studio.
Loving on our parents.
Oh, and we love and appreciate them so much. And that was a beautiful, fun,
Hmm.
real, and very transparent time with them. So
Yeah.
check all of those episodes out if you haven't had the chance to yet. There's there's a holiday coming up this week. It's a beautiful time to binge watch. I'm just saying, if you're looking for something to binge watch that will
Hmm.
actually minister to your soul and not wreck it, just a thought.
That part.
You feel free to binge watch on our shows. You've got season 1, you got season 2, and now
Mhm.
we're into season 3. So you have hours of just, I mean,
Yes.
true soup for the soul. Some true soup for the soul, and you can still comment. So we see your comments. We do see your comments even on replays on both YouTube and Facebook. So comment away. And speaking of comments, if you're watching us live tonight, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Just let us know where you're coming from and where you are, because we'd love to celebrate and give shout outs and say hey's. So oh, let's jump in. Okay. Tell It
Absolutely.
Tuesday. Anything you want to tell our listeners?
Oh my God. I don't even know where to begin, but in the briefity of it all, honey, one, this is the month of gratitude according to other people, but we're grateful on a regular basis. Shout out to Sue.
Every
Thanks for
day.
joining us. But
Yay, Sue.
just understanding the Tell It Tuesday. I have so much, Tania, to be very honest with you, that it is very hard to narrow down a testimony or a gratitude or the things that I'm just grateful for in life. I just, at this point, shout out to our Maryland folks and our Texas folks that are joining on. I am
Hey.
just so full of gratitude, so full of gratitude, and just this episode, I might cry, and I might be okay with crying. This is where
That
I
might be
am at.
both of us because
Yeah,
this series on obedience, I mean,
yeah.
the phrase it hits home
Mm-mm,
it doesn't even encompass
mm-mm.
truly where we have been and the journey that we have been on
Real talk.
for the years. So yeah, I'm there with you. And my Tell It Tuesday, I mean, just sincerely grateful that we were able to have our parents on
Mm,
last week.
real.
I don't take that for granted
Mm-mm.
that our parents are still blessed to be on this side of heaven,
Right.
that they're in their right mind, as grandma used to say, right? They're in their right mind.
Right.
Um, that they're active, that they're, overall blessed to be healthy because it could be so much worse. And
Mm,
so just the blessing of that, I am so grateful for that. There are so many people that don't have that blessing in their lives anymore
so true.
because their parents have either, transitioned, either God has called them home or they just don't have that relationship. And I'm just grateful for all of that. I'm grateful that
Mm,
they're here. I'm grateful that
mm,
we're blessed to have the relationship that we have with them. It's not perfect,
mm.
but it is imperfectly beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's come so far and still so far to go, even. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for that. So grateful. So that
Mhm.
is, that's my tell it. So we ready to jump in? Are we ready to jump in?
Honey, this is an amazing topic, and for those of you that are again haven't seen 1 and 2. This is the third part, so go back. It'll make it make sense, but this will have legs on its own as well. We will be referencing as we continue to engage with you all about, topic 1, topic 2, episode 1, episode 2, and that this is about the 3-part series of obedience today, the ripple effect.
Mhm.
And that's a term that God gave me a few years ago, and I didn't really understand when God said, understand the ripple effect. And I was like, God, break that down for me. Unpack that? What does that mean? and how we live on the water where we are, and just understanding the wake when you're on a water, you're on a boat, and to see how it just continues, it just never stops. When God put the water in motion, when He said, "Let there be," and so the waves haven't stopped waving since, right? And so that was the first initial with that "Let it be," and the ripple effect from His words, just His words alone, continue to allow the waves, and obviously the moon keeping the waves going. And so it's just amazing to see now when we bring that forward with our actions are just like the words set in motion, and the ripple effect from our
Right.
actions, the ripple effect from our words, our thoughts, our obedience, our disobedience, everything we do, our mere existence, honestly, um, has a positive and or a negative impact in the earth. And that really is the summation of the ripple effect. And you are impacting someone, whether you realize it or not, yourself, your generations, your legacy, those are around you, whether you know them or not. They could be strangers, they could be non-existent, haven't even been birthed on the earth. Doesn't
Right.
matter, so let's give you a little back history on where God gave me the ripple effect, and the magnitude, how it's so much bigger than us. Tini always says it's not about us, and the ripple effect is the converse. It is about us and how it impacts everything around us. So
Hmm.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And the lovely technical definition is the continuing and spreading results of an event or action. The
Hmm.
continuing and spreading results
Oh yeah.
of an event or action. And I love that definition because, scientists have even proven that water is the most natural destructive force because it just goes and goes until it can't go any further,
Right.
right? And to me, that is the true example of our generational blessings, our generational curses.
Hmm.
They go and go and go
Right.
until God says no further, right? And it's the same thing that we're talking about tonight, the importance of our obedience to God. Let's be
Mm.
clear on that tonight. We're talking about obedience to God. We're not talking
Right.
about obedience to man. We're not talking about obedience in marriages or relationships. Just
Mm-mm.
for the record, this is what we are talking about tonight is our obedience to God and the things that He calls us to do. So that's where we're going tonight. And I know when you had scripture that you wanted everybody to know about.
Absolutely. Usually I'm bringing the songs or the fun, and Tania brings the scripture with her TPT. But
Don't
tonight I
hate on my
wanted to,
TBT.
yeah, right. So tonight I wanted to make sure that everyone was aware we're not going to read it to you, honey. This is not Bible study. This ain't story time. We want you to get in this for yourself. Okay. So that is Deuteronomy 28. And so the first section of that, verses 1 through 4, talk about 1 through 14, talk
Mhm.
about the blessings of obedience. And the remaining balance, verses 15 through 31, talk about the curses of disobedience. And so I really encourage you to read all the way through Deuteronomy 28. Familiarize yourself with that so that you can understand really the impact that you have, and that there's two sides to that, right? When you're obedient, here's the things that's going to go right. When you're disobedient,
Yeah.
here's the things that's going to go wrong. So I really encourage you, make that your Bible study this week, while you're maybe off work or have some quiet time. Get in that and just really dive a little deeper so that that gives you a good conclusion to this 3-part series.
Hmm. Yeah. I love that scripture in its entirety. And if you are familiar with that scripture or you've read it before, let us know what translation. We'd be curious to know what translation really blesses you, that you
Yeah.
get the most out of it, whether it's the lovely traditional old school King James version, and there's nothing wrong with that, or if you prefer the message version of Deuteronomy 28 because it's just this plain, it's just written so
Mhm.
beautifully plain. So let us know in the comments. We'd love to know what your preferred translation is. So the what does the ripple effect of obedience look like? Let's talk
Mm.
about that for a little bit
Oh, yeah.
because the obedience part should look like overflow. It should look like abundance.
Mhm.
It should look like peace in the midst of
Right.
what may be looking like chaos to everyone else, right? It is that presence of God covering and protecting
Mm.
everything in every area of our lives when we are walking in what he's told us to do.
Right. Right.
That to me is one of the ways of what the ripple effect of obedience looks like. It's everything being provided for with that request. That if God said, go over here and do this, then that this is going to have all the provision waiting for it,
Mhm.
right? God is going to provide for it. He's going to make sure there's open doors for us to accomplish what he's told us to do. To me, that's what the ripple effect, one of the things of what the ripple effect looks like. What about you, Win?
The examples of the ripple effect, meaning the cause and effect of obedience, I love some of the extremes and even some of the subtle examples in the Bible where we think about when God told the prophet to go to the widow, and that was in the subtle, very specific instruction. She's there, she's fitting, as she says, to make some cake and die. She
Yeah,
she already told us her suicide mission, right? So she's like, no, I got enough for me and my son, and we out, right? And so he shows up out of obedience. And because he shows up out of obedience and she does what he asked her to do, okay, which is what God had instructed him to tell her, the ripple effect of that obedience is not, not just her living, her son living, but
right,
the manifestation of just the favor where she couldn't contain it all. Now she's got to go to the neighbors to get pots to contain the ripple effect. And when the pots
right,
ran out, the oil ran out, right? And so when you think about in your life, just the little things like earlier this evening, I my mom said, what she wanted for Thanksgiving dinner. So I ran to the store to pick up the supply, right? And so I'm in the lane waiting patiently for a parking spot, got my signal on. There's a vehicle facing me and everybody's waiting. Parking lot is jammed. Grocery store, everybody's there.
yeah,
Right. And I was just like, God, I'm obedient. You told me to come at this time of day. We knew what the crowd was going to look like. But out of the
right,
obedience, I went. Right. Immediately, a vehicle backed out towards me. And as they backed out towards me, I pulled in the spot unaware that there's a parking space open in front of them. And in Maryland, we can pull through spaces. And so it was just amazing because as he's backed out and came towards me, I was able to pull through, which allowed the lady who was elderly and him and waiting with her signal on for a minute to pull right behind me. I got out, walked past her vehicle. She's thanking me. I'm thanking her. And I'm like, no, that's the obedience. That's the ripple effect, even in the
right,
little things of now you can get a close parking spot. I can walk a little further. We both were blessed by the obedience of me showing up at the exact time that God told me to go. And so it can be in small things, it can be in large things, but you will know the positive ripple effect in your life and the people around you will feel it. And on the
mhm,
same time, you're also going to feel what that disobedience looks like. And we'll talk about that in a minute.
right. I'm gonna That is all so good. I'm gonna speak to the large ripple effect waves.
Yeah.
of the big things. So we've been here now 15 years. Here,
Mm,
as in my family, has been in Texas now for 15 years. We were originally over there with them. That's where we're from originally.
yes.
Came here 15 years ago out of obedience, y'all.
Mm, mm,
Out of obedience. We're not talking a small way. This one's a big one. This is
yes.
this is a big one. It was a literal Abraham, Sarah, pack it up, take the baby, and move.
Literally.
Literally, that is what we were told to do from God, and that is what we did. And in doing that, I love how the ripple effect of our obedience set such miracles
Hmm.
and blessings in motion
Yes.
that they're almost unbelievable. They're almost unbelievable to the point to where had we not lived it ourselves and someone had just told us,
Mm.
I think I would have questioned their authenticity. Like, I don't know, right? But having lived that thing out
Yes.
and done it when he told us to do it during a financial season and a real estate season in this country that made no sense to put a home up for sale, let
Mhm.
alone build another home at the same time.
Right.
And God's like, yeah, but I'm the one that told you to move. So I'm going to open every single door that you need
Mm, mm,
in
mm.
order to move. And then I'm going to also on that chessboard. I'm also going to bless the person that's been waiting for your home that you're willing to sell.
Mhm.
I'm going to bless that person to show up already with their financing, the ripple effect of the blessings. They
Right.
already have full funding for the price that I told you to list it for.
Mm, mm, mm.
And then I'm going to open the door for you to move to where I sent you to
Right.
and for you to keep blessing people once you're there, right? Because even though this ripple effect conversation is about us, it still goes beyond us.
Oh yeah.
And so the ripple effect of our obedience brought blessings to so many
Mm, mm.
people. So too many to even start on this show tonight.
Right.
So which is I know why God had me write a book about it because it's just too many to go into the show tonight. But it's
Mhm.
the genuine, the larger, the true larger, just an example of the larger when we step out on faith with God and partner with God in that crazy thing that He's telling us to do. And
Right.
it's only crazy to us, it's never crazy to Him,
Come on.
right? But the ripple effects that He guarantees, right, in His Word, as you'll read in Deuteronomy 28. I can't even say it. As you'll read in that chapter, right, the
Right.
blessings that He guarantees in that
Mm, mm, mm.
are just
Come on.
they're worth every inconvenience, every "ooh, this doesn't feel comfortable," every stepping out of the comfort zone,
Yeah.
every moving 1,600 miles away from everyone that you know,
Right.
except for one family. Like, no one. You know no one except for one family. You're blessed to know one family. Is there one? You're blessed to know
But
one.
even if you didn't, right? Even if you didn't know
Right.
them, I mean, it was literally the obedience of it all.
It was. It was. And just the ripple effect of that, of God
Hmm.
promising to provide in
Right.
the ripples of the blessings that are there and waiting. So, yeah, that, oof. Yeah, I think we could go on and on forever about the ripple effects of obedience.
Oh yes, absolutely. It's an
Those are
amazing.
great to talk about. The obedience.
Now to sit back and watch it is really the key, right? Is when you first are living this lifestyle, as we talked about, again, if you're just joining us, welcome. This is a three-part
Yeah.
series. Well, unless God tells us to pick it back up next week. But part one was in God's will. Part two was really, you know, lifestyle of obedience. And this being part three, of the ripple effect is a culmination of those all together. And
Yeah.
so when we sit back and look at it, it's different when you're not in God's will. Be real honest with you, right? And then when you finally do and you make it a lifestyle, right? And now we've gotten to this point where now we can see the ripple effect. At first, when you're not in God's will and when you don't have it as a lifestyle, I'm gonna be real honest with you and transparent. You can't imagine the ripple effect because you don't see it because you're out of God's will, right? Or it might be so one off, random, not that often. But now that it's become a lifestyle,
Mhm.
now the
Yeah.
ripple effect, you see it on a grander stage, and now you can almost sit back and look at it, and you know how you recall, right? Now you're able to say, okay, you know what, let me see this, I can review this, I can reflect on this. But reflection comes from you doing the work, you being consistent. That's where reflection comes from. Now that we can reflect back on 15 years but it took
That part.
that first step 15 years ago in order to reflect back on it now in
Mhm.
2022. You see, that's where I don't want to lose people in that. Is the ripple effect is you planting seeds and
Right.
looking back on those seeds as a farmer, right? And you're like, look at that field's harvest. And let's hope it's a good harvest. Real talk. Okay.
Right.
And have the reflective moment of ripple effect, because that's really what it, because that wake doesn't come initially. When you feel the wake in a boat or you see the wave hit the shore, that original source boat is long gone. Okay.
Exactly.
And so it's waves out, or it's like Tania saying, it's years out, right?
Right.
It's just now hitting shore. You're just feeling it, right?
Right.
And so the converse of that is that disobedience ripple effect. Same thing. God forbid your great, great, great grandchildren. I pray that they're like, hey, our great, great, great grandmom, thank goodness that she was in obedience. Because now we're living in generational blessings. But
Right.
there, but everybody doesn't have that story. Some people are living in generational curses because of the wakes of years prior.
Right. And and um to even not over spiritualize it for everyone, because we recognize everyone that watches our show, all of our listeners may
Mm-hmm.
not be years upon years in their relationship with God. So even just to break it down, right, to the true simplistic, that we live our lives, every moment of our lives
Yeah.
is a ripple effect from something,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're driving down the road and somebody cuts the car off 2 cars in front of you,
Come on.
what's the ripple effect of that, right?
Right.
Those 2 cars are slamming on your brakes, you're slamming on your brakes and hopefully screaming Jesus and no other word or name at the same time, right? It's the we spend our whole every single waking moment is a ripple effect of
Mm-hmm.
something is going on in our lives, right? If we choose to start the morning without prayer, what's the ripple effect of that?
Yeah.
Are we stressed by 8 a.m.? Are we looking for caffeine or
Mm-hmm.
whatever by 10 because we're so stressed out, right? Everything we are living out ripple
Yeah.
effects
Absolutely.
of our actions, of our obedience or disobedience, right? But everything we are doing throughout the day, we're living in the midst of a ripple effect. And I just wanted to put that out there
Mm-hmm.
just so that you can even take that into consideration of, okay, if
Yeah.
you're stressed, think about it. What caused that stress? Where did that come from? That's a ripple from something that happened in the day. And it's like, okay,
Right.
okay, now I'm stressed because of what happened or because of what somebody else did or did not do, right? Even that, right? In the
And you can feel
workplace.
it. You
Yeah,
can really feel um the trend, when people I try my best to stay at a state of peace, right? And to really just be on that one on plane with God. And you can tell people that have stress in their lives. their energy shifts as soon as you walk into their space, or as soon as they walk into your space. It's almost like they want their stress of their day to ripple onto you. And I'm like, oop, nope, nope, sorry, that's your stress. Whatever's going on in your life, that ripple can't ripple over here. Okay. Because the word says for me, he's gonna keep me in perfect peace. Okay. So I'm in perfect peace. So your ripple, you have to be mindful. What are you rippling on to other people? Did you have a stressful day? Are you ripping and running? Are you stressed out? Did you just have an argument and now all of a sudden you hostile towards everybody else? Check yourself. What's your ripple that you're putting out there?
Mhm.
Is it perfect peace? Right? So,
Yeah,
with everything, there's a ripple. Everything. I agree with you, Tania, 100%.
yeah, yeah. And this obedience that we're talking about tonight, it's a strategic, intentional
Hmm.
partnership with God.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about, a true surrender of self,
Hmm.
of our wants, our needs, our plans, our thoughts, our desires,
Right.
putting all that down to partner with God's purpose and his plans and his needs, right? It this is an intentional partnership. This takes some true dying to self.
Woo! This ain't a sexy topic tonight, y'all. I'm sorry.
Hey,
We don't
Bishop
have
Pray.
we
Hey,
don't have the
hello.
fun. Hey, Bishop Howard, we don't have the fun, right? Tonight, this is the lifestyle that we live. When people are like, what do you want to do? I don't have plans. I have obedience.
Yeah, and
That's a
that's
tough conversation.
literally
People can't understand it. They want to.
mm-mm,
I don't live that life anymore. I
no,
used to, where I used to be a pretty stringent planner to the T. That type A control
yes,
personality used to exist. Now,
right,
fully surrendered. Hey,
yeah,
I'm not going anywhere till God don't tell me to move. Did he tell
yeah,
me to go here? Did he tell me to go there? Did he tell me to do this? Okay, I'm waiting to hear. Then I'll move. And if that makes people feel uncomfortable, so be it. But that's just the life I'm living right now, where you know what?
yeah.
I'm in these obedient streets on
Your
Aaron's obedience train, and we not moving nowhere
your
until
level
God
your
says so.
level of comfort
Mm,
with my obedience,
irrelevant. Hey, listen.
it does not matter. It makes no never mind, as they used to say. It makes no mind, because what I'm not willing to do
Mm-mm.
is take on the ripple effect of disobedience
Come on.
to keep you comfortable. So, yes, my plans
Mm,
in Google Calendar, yeah, they're in pencil.
mm, mm.
Because everything is subject to change, like, it's okay, right? Because you get to a place in your life where
Yes.
that obedience means that much to you, and you see the ripple effect of your obedience, that you're like, "You know what, God?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay." Because if you're changing my plans and you're saying, "I know this is what you wanna do, but I need you over here," then I know the blessings that will come along with me saying,
That
"Okay,
part. That
Imma go where you telling me to go,"
right.
right? Then it's fully worth the sacrifice.
It's really just the cycle of this three-part series: God's will, living in a lifestyle, the ripple effect. And
Right.
when you don't understand one, two, or three, go back to one. I assure you.
Yeah.
Okay. One is always going to get you right. God's will. Are you in God's will? Is this God's will? If you sit and do that check in, as we talk about every week, man, just check in, right? Ask God, is this your will? And be
Yeah.
quiet and let God give you direction.
That part. The be still and know that he is God. The be still part. It's the be still part and
Mhm.
wait for
That's
the
it.
answer, right? It's to be still, because you can't you can't have an intentional partnership with God if you're still calling all the shots. Then that's not a partnership.
Come on. You're
'Cause
not in the driver's seat.
in all reality, what we're talking about tonight is God is actually holding all the strings, and you're allowing yourself to
Mhm.
be flexible and to be moved by him. So, if you're sitting there like, "What are you saying to me? I'm a puppet?" Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, be a puppet for God. Yes,
Yes.
it's exactly what we're saying. Allow him to have
Mm.
all the strings
Yes.
in your life, and it'll be so much easier.
Full control,
So much
full surrender.
easier.
Yes, yes.
So much I don't even know how else to say that. It's just
Mm.
so much easier. Life is so much easier
Come on.
when we hand it all over to him, right?
I mean, when the Goofy slogan came out, when people used to make the comic and they would say, "Jesus, take the wheel," right? And I remember people would always put that on a meme. But really, sure, it's funny to say, but can you use that as do you have that in a lifestyle? Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
your lifestyle of getting out of the car? You gotten out of the car? Are you in the back seat? I'm in the trunk at this point.
Ditto.
Okay. Where you take me, it doesn't matter. Doesn't even matter. I don't even need to know. Put me in the trunk. Let's go. Right?
Yeah.
Wherever you let's go. You drive. I don't need to be in the back seat. I don't need to be a shotgun driver. I don't need to be a backseat driver. No, put me in the trunk. Let's go. Because I know wherever we ended up, I'm following the cloud. That's my strategic plan. People want to know what's your plan. My plans is to follow the cloud. That's my plans. And guess what? Where that cloud lands, when that cloud moves, man, every time, Tania,
And I
every time.
I actually chuckle at myself now when, people ask me, "So what do you do?" And I'm just like, I so want to just say to them, I follow the cloud every
That's
day.
it.
I
That's
follow
it.
God's cloud every day. Whatever
Every
God
day.
wants me doing with my day, I am blessed that I'm in a season in my life where
Yes.
I can actually do that. Yes, I'm married. Yes, I have a family, and yes, I care for them. That's at the forefront. But
Mhm.
I'm also blessed to where my day can flow with God,
That's it.
right? And no matter what you have going on in your life, no matter what season you're in, that's something all of us should desire to have is God,
Mhm.
let my day flow with you,
Right.
right? Because I want the ripple effect of my day flowing with you.
I remember a couple years ago when I started telling my staff members I was following the cloud. Oh, I love the response, honey. What are we gonna do about such and such? Oh God, it was like 3 or 4 years ago. We had a question. Oh, it was a budget question that came up. Something came. What you gonna do? I'm following the cloud. Go back and read the scripture.
Mhm.
No further. Nothing further needs to be explained.
Right.
Did he not provide?
Every time.
I mean, what we talking about?
Every time. Consistently
Come on.
provide.
Come on. That's my answer. You want to know what are my plans? Hashtag follow the cloud. Okay.
Yeah.
This is where I'm at right now. So y'all put it in the chat. Let us know in the comments how you feel about the ripple effect of obedience. How do you feel about this topic? Again, we know it's a heavy topic. This season alone, season 3, each topic God has asked us to cover has been a pretty heavy topic.
But it's been the season for that, and it's
Yes.
been necessary, right? Because we're about to I don't know how
Hmm.
many days are left in this year when but there's not many.
Oh no.
And so what better time forget waiting till January 1st to do the whole whatever they call it, the whatever people call those things that they make at the beginning of the year. I don't do them. But
Right.
forget waiting till then. Like now is the time,
Right.
right? To give God our full obedience. Now is the time
Hmm.
to say, you
Hmm.
know what, God, I'm going to put my plans down and let me pick up yours. Now's the time to do that. And so I think that's one of the reasons he has us not waiting till January to have this topic, to have this discussion.
Right.
right? And we were talking a little bit ago about conversations and interactions. And I would love to submit that walking in obedience, having that ripple effect,
Mhm.
is going to bring about random. We put random in quotations because nothing is truly random in God, right?
Nothing,
But
nothing.
we can expect random conversations and interactions as part of our ripple effect,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
As part of that obedience. Just,
Tis
yeah,
what does
do
Tisa
it
say? Out the blue?
out the blue. Shout out to
Mhm.
Tisa tonight. Out the blue,
Mhm.
right? God saying, okay, you have this over here, and I can use you to meet this need in this stranger's life.
Come on.
And you like, I don't know that person, but God is doing what he does on that chessboard, lining
Listen.
it up, right? So when we're willing to be obedient, the ripple effect of that is someone else's blessing. It
Right.
may not even be someone that's related to us, someone that's attached to us in some way, but it's still about God saying, you know what? I can work with you because you have a surrendered heart to me.
Right.
And because of that, I know I can trust you because that's what God is looking for. He's looking for those of us he can trust in this season
Mhm.
to be obedient, to do the things that he's calling us to do, whether they make sense or not,
Right.
to then still follow through with it to bless who he wants to bless, right? It made, like you were talking about earlier with the prophet and the widow, it made no sense for the prophet to go there.
Right.
Think about how many houses he bypassed, how many people he bypassed to go to her, right?
Listen.
It made no sense, no earthly sense
And I love
whatsoever.
the generality, but the specificity of it all, because he told the prophet to get up and to
Yeah,
go see a widow. Now, I
right,
don't know what town this was specifically, but how many unmarried women whose husband had passed away,
right. I'm sure she
right?
wasn't the only widow in
Thank
the
you.
in town.
Right. So it's like, okay, now you want me to find, how do I know that this is the right widow? Right. But God, he was obedient. He didn't sit there and try and overanalyze as we always like to do. Right.
Right.
You're going to send me to X and X town to go find a widow. Okay. No, just get up and go. God's going to direct you to the specific human being that you need to be in contact with. And he did. Right.
Mhm.
And it was amazing. She gave her a set of circumstances.
Right.
He acknowledged, let's be clear, all right? And then he gave her the word of the Lord and the obedience from that. Every part of that was a ripple effect. Um, and to know that there was such generational blessings that came from that one move of obedience, because
Yeah,
oil back in that day was a currency. They
that's
traded it
right.
as a barter. So the pots of oil didn't just represent oil to eat for her and her son, it represented currency,
It was provision.
because now she's able to sell this oil, okay?
Mm.
And whether or not she sold it back to her neighbors who gave her the pots, I don't know. That's a great because I'm like, if I loaned you that pot, technically, I'm not paying for the oil that's in the pot because that's my pot. But that's a different story for another day. But she was able to, right? I don't know how many pots, but they said until the pots ran out.
That's right.
So you got to think about the currency value of that. So really she was set for life. She went from being impoverished, okay, where she's ready to die if she's making her last meal, to now she has generational wealth, I'm sure, for her children's and children's and children's children's, where I mean, honestly, she moved on up, like George Jeff, like she moved on up, okay, just in her obedience. She didn't argue with him. She did what he asked her to do.
And it started with his obedience
That's it.
because had he not
Correct.
gotten up and
Correct.
gone to her home,
Mhm.
that's not to say God may not have provided another way for her to receive her miracle, right?
Mhm.
In her ripple effect of provision. but God is choosing us. He's very strategic and he's
Oh, yeah.
intentional about who he's choosing.
Come
He's
on.
like, if I'm choosing you, then I want to use you. It's not because there wasn't anybody else available. It's because I know your heart, or
Right.
I know, or God knows us well enough to know, you know what? I'm sending this person, I'm putting this person in your path because you have the personality that can reach this person.
Right.
You have the tone in your voice. You have the empathy in your life. Or even better yet, you've gone through what they're going through.
Hmm.
And so now, ripple effect of your obedience and getting through that and walking through that trial and walking through that season out with me, now you get to bless somebody else, right?
That part.
And bless
That
somebody else in obedience and just let it keep flowing and let it keep going. And I just love the random the random interactions, because I
Mhm,
even God just brought back to my remembrance just now really quick when we moved here. So when
mhm,
we moved here, 1,600 miles away, we packed up a three-story home. So I don't even know how many boxes we had, y'all, but it was a lot of boxes. It was a lot of boxes.
right, right.
And I'm starting to unpack with the infant on my hip. And I'm like, well, God, what am I going to do with all these boxes? Because if anybody knows me, I don't care for clutter. It does not minister to me
Mhm,
at all. And so I was like, Lord, all these boxes, like, what am I going to do with these boxes? We weren't here. We weren't here 2 weeks, y'all. I'm telling you. And God sends a complete stranger in
mm,
my life
mm, mm, mm,
who her and her family had to do like an emergency move out of their two-story home.
mm, mm,
And they
mm.
did not have the funds for boxes and needed moving boxes.
Come on, come on. It's the ripple. I'm telling you.
I was like, "Thank you, God, because you blessing me in the ripple of getting this out of my house." Because
Correct.
it was gonna stress me to have all those boxes around, and here I am, I get to deliver the ripple effect of our obedience of putting everything in a box to begin with and move
Yes,
1,600 miles away,
yes.
right? Just so that I could be right there at that very moment, at that very time, to bless that person that ended up being a very dear friend in my life, but was a complete stranger at the time, to bless
Mhm.
her and her family to not need to purchase not one box.
Right.
Like, here you go. And here's all the wrapping paper. Like, we got paper, bubble wrap, boxes. You need it. I have it. Here you go. You know? And that's what we're
Mm,
talking
mm,
about
mm.
tonight. Being willing to partner with God so
Yes.
that the ripple effects of our obedience are all blessings and
Mm,
not curses.
mm, mm, mm.
So,
I,
are we ready to talk about that flip side?
I mean, the
Oof,
specific, as you say, right? The specific and strategic partnership. This week for work, we had a major event, the first time in 4 years in person. And so when God told me to expand the head count, I was obedient both times to extend the head count. When God told me who to choose for the food source, I was obedient. When God told me how to order the food source, I was obedient. And so it's amazing in listening each specific time, okay,
right,
of what that mattered, because God was very clear on when I ordered the food for this huge event, do not go with platters. He was very specific, like you're saying, very strategic.
right,
Don't go with open food, go with containment. And I was like, okay, God, no problem. All right. It costs a few cents more to get things packaged up in individual boxes, but no problem. Because you're saying be obedient, we're going to be obedient. And so it was just nothing but the hand of God to get there and literally have extra lunch boxes from the event and being able to just make one call. And my friend who runs the soup kitchen says, yes, we will take the extra boxes and it will be such a surprise to the homeless population because they normally just get one meal a day. And now they'll be able to have a second meal because of you. And I was like, it's not because of me. It's because of God. It's because of being a vessel, listening, and being obedient. And that strategic partnership allowed X number of homeless individuals in our community to have a second meal yesterday. Right. And so it's in the huge, it's in
Right.
the small. It's just about you doing what you're supposed to do and not going back and forth. Yes, I could have been disobedient and went with open platters. How would that have served the homeless population later on? But God knew that, right? God
Right.
knew that it needed to be contained where they can just literally do a grab and go, and not have to worry about it. Man, we have to look beyond ourselves and understand that God is in control in it all, in it all.
Right. And that's the key part there, being willing to look beyond ourselves.
Yeah.
So I love Sue's comment because
Yes.
she is segueing this thing for us already. I love it
I
because
love it.
we were about to go there with the disobedience.
Adam
Ooh,
and Eve, honey.
ugh,
That's real talk, Miss Sue, because when you think about the ripple effect of Adam and Eve,
forever until God's return.
how about it?
That's what we're dealing with.
How about it? The man cursed to work the sweat of his brow, and the woman cursed with pain in labor.
Mhm.
Point blank, the ripple don't stop.
And that her desire would be to her husband.
Mm-hmm.
That's also part of our as
Yeah,
women, right?
absolutely.
That part.
Keep
Um,
and it's amazing. The beginning of time, how we talked about how the wake doesn't stop.
right.
So
Mhm.
there's very specific instances in the Bible where God talks about generational curses and generational blessings to the third and fourth generation.
Right.
He's specific in some of those things, but with this, that was a flat out blanket curse. Like that's not ending right there. There was no third and fourth generation on that. Adam and Eve. Thank
No.
you, Adam and Eve, because we still live your ripple effect.
Yeah, to this day. So, ooh, let's talk about it. We talked about the blessings,
Mm,
the beautiful, beautiful blessings. And let's talk about the curses.
well, for every man that doesn't want to get up and go to work. It was your guy, Adam.
Right.
Hey,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
that part.
Yeah.
The woman you gave me. Let's talk about Evie Eve.
Mm.
Okay, I felt that.
Mm.
That I felt, yeah, in your throat. It was in your throat. Mm-hmm. Clear your throat. Mm.
That
Talk about
that
it.
that pain in childbearing is
Yeah.
something you as a woman that's been blessed to bring a child into the world. That
Mm-hmm.
is
You wasn't thanking Eve. You didn't give her a shout out. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I definitely did not thank her. I said some words about her, but I did
Ooh,
not thank her. Not at
Evie
all.
Eve.
Not at all, right?
Mm.
Um, Also that our desire will be to our husband.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That part. That part.
Right, right.
Even when we
So
don't want it to be, right? Even we were like, we're done with it and over it. Didn't matter. Didn't matter.
that's correct.
Come on.
That desire was in there. That desire was in there. Like, no matter
Mm,
how we're treated, no matter what, that desire
right.
is in there. God was like, yeah, that's not going to be an option for you. It's not going to be an option.
Woo.
You know that's one of your grand prizes right there.
Thanks. Thanks.
I mean, right?
Thanks.
So in
Mm.
your Deuteronomy 28,
Whoo, honey, them curses. Honey.
do you know one or two off top of your head?
No, I refused to memorize the last section. It's so tough. Let me tell you.
It is.
Listen,
It
if
is.
you think that is glitz and glam of that first half, stay in that first half. Because that bottom half, you don't want that life. I trust me, you don't want that smoke. I assure you. Because the curses are so profound, you don't want it. I guarantee you.
Now we in the first episode in this series, we were both talking about our previous marriages
Yes.
and the ripple effect of my disobedience in that first marriage, right? Even brought on a curse onto the person that I married that I wasn't supposed to marry,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I even had to end up taking that thing to God once I became aware, once I had an awareness and God opened my eyes and my spirit to that,
Right.
that OMG, Lord, I done brought even this man into disobedience. Like that's the
Mm-hmm.
ripple effect.
Come on.
I done brought this man into disobedience right along with me, right? Whew.
Don't we think about when we are in soul ties with men, ladies, this is for you, that you don't
Ungodly
have
soul ties.
ungodly soul ties with
Yeah.
somebody that is not your husband, that God has specifically said is not. If you think you can just be randomly out here, I mean her random, we're gonna use the air quotes,
Right.
and you think that there's not gonna be a ripple effect in your life, on your life, through your life, okay. All right. I'm going to just allow you to be in denial, but you might want to read the bottom half of Deuteronomy 28 and go ahead and put it in the comments next week when you get done reading it. It's not me. It's not my fault. Please don't hit back on the show. It's the word of God. It's nothing like God's word hitting all of us, because as we talked about on the first episode, right, of this series
Right.
about our first marriages, right, and how we weren't in God's will and the ripple effect of that. We could talk about these men all day long. It don't have anything to do with these men. We were disobedient and we were not in God's will. Point blank, period. It didn't matter what they did or not. If
Nope.
we were not in the relationship with them, it could have never happened.
That part.
So the ripple effect of being in a relationship that is out of God's will caused a lot of undue, unnecessary on ourselves and on them. Okay,
Truly.
because the ripple just don't stop with you.
Right.
Oh, no, 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 no.
That's what I'm saying. Right. Yeah, it's
Mm-mm.
real. It's a full-on disalignment, right?
Come on,
You love
come
to
on.
talk about alignment, and that's on the obedience side. That's on verses 1 through 14.
That
But
part.
let's have a real talk right now about the disalignment. So when our back is disaligned,
Come
that's
on.
pain beyond pain. Well, in the spirit, it's the same thing. When we out of
Mm.
alignment with God, what kind of pain are we putting on ourselves
Listen,
and everybody else that's attached to our disobedience in the first place?
it's like Pepe Le Pew in the old school cartoons. I'm taking y'all back. If y'all don't know,
You
Google it,
did go
YouTube it,
way back to the
YouTube
skunk.
it. Okay, Pepe Le Pew thought he couldn't smell himself, y'all.
No,
Okay, but who smelt him was everyone around him. And Pepe is putting on
real talk.
perfume, and Pepe is thinking that he's the flyest thing out here. Okay, y'all go back, go YouTube it. I know it's in the Wayback Machine, but it really helps you give context to how we are in our flesh when we are outside of God's will. And we just think we are out here doing the most. And everybody around us is looking at us and smelling us like, you smell fishy, Pepe Le Pew, because you're not in God's will. You out of alignment, and you don't even know you out of God's alignment. I mean, you. I don't know how you don't know. Let me just say that there was a part of me, like I said to you in one,
Right,
that refused to check in when you asked me the question.
right.
So A part of me might not have fully known, and a part of me refused to acknowledge. I'm gonna
Oh,
just be
most
fair with
definitely.
that, right?
Yeah.
So if you are not, if you do not know what God's will is for your life, I sincerely ask you, cousin, sister, we here for you. Please take a beat, take a pause, check in, ask God, God, what is your will for my life? And allow God to give you direction. And when He
Yeah.
tells you something that you don't want to hear, get out of that job, move from that town, stop sleeping with this person, go do this, go do that. You might not want to hear it, but I assure you, you keep doing
Right.
what he's telling you not to do. And you go read the bottom half of Deuteronomy 28, because those two things are going to match up.
Right. Right. And that, whew, you know, when he's telling us, go apologize to this person. I need you to forgive this person.
Yes.
I need you to release this person in your
Mm,
life,
come on.
right? I need you to shift in friendships right now. It's time to shift, okay? I know you've been holding on to this person over here for 20 plus years,
Let
but
it
there's
go.
somebody over here. I need be willing, right?
Yes.
To be that flexible in God. I got my flexi man. Be willing to be that flexible, right? That
Mm,
when God is saying, do this, don't do this,
right.
we are so we are so intertwined in God's will that
Mm,
he doesn't need to ask us a second time.
no.
He doesn't need to be that parent that has to repeat himself. And we've all been there and none of us have arrived. So I'm quick to
Mm,
say, sometimes he still has to repeat himself with me because I'm just like,
listen,
are you sure? Cause that
wasn't that we didn't hear.
no, heard it clearly
Let's
the
be
first
clear on that.
time. Heard it clearly the first time
Yeah.
without issue.
Yes.
And it's just like,
Hmm.
are you sure? Are you
Yeah.
sure? You know? And to literally be willing to live out that obedience so
Mm.
quickly, right? A
Swift.
swift, a swift ripple effect of obedience.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I always love to say, y'all know I love to say, who's waiting on your obedience?
Ooh, girl.
So who's waiting to receive your ripple effect? The longer we sit
Mm.
on it, the longer we remain in a relationship with somebody that doesn't belong to us, and you got a woman over here praying, some woman, God knows where, God truly only knows where, praying on the man that you won't let go.
Ooh.
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
Listen.
I said it and I meant
Listen.
it. And it's what God told me to say, so I'm not apologizing because we've all been there.
Ooh.
We've
This is
all
the
been there.
ripple effect.
Held on to somebody, male, female,
Mm.
and they belong to someone else.
Well, Jesus, we out here. We in the interwebs tonight. If you just joining us,
I said it.
welcome to the interwebs. Welcome to listening to Nia. Listen with Tania and Win on the third segment of the ripple effect, because every move you make, every thought you think, I'm telling you, there is impact. And the impact, it goes out. It goes out from you. And so, whether it's you literally, as Tania said, didn't take the time to stop and pray in the morning,
Yeah,
and now your hurriedness to, because your day's thrown off. Now you get in the car, now you got road rage, and you got to yell at every single person that's moving in a vehicle around you because you can't control your emotions. Why? Because you got to get back, because it's a ripple. Go back to the go back.
right.
Right? So now you got road rage, and now you out here responding crazily. And now, now that passes on to the next vehicle, right? And so when you just think about the ripple effect, and this is not just from a person to person, We talk about the ripple effect in the negative way as well when it comes down to leadership. Listen to me. I'm going to say this on the interwebs because this is where God is taking me. If you were in a church or in a leadership position and you out of order, or you are affiliated with something that God has moved on from, get yourself in alignment. Okay? Remove the idolatry of a flesh and get where God has called you to be. Because there is nothing like you thinking that you're where you're supposed to be and that's not where God is anymore or God has you to be. And you don't realize that your legacy is attached, okay, is going to be impacted tremendously by you not doing what you need to do. So I don't know who that's for, but please tune in to whatever God is telling you and be obedient. Don't wait till 2023 because, honey, God is not, he's not playing.
No.
He's, he's not playing. So make the shift, do the move, whatever you need to do, but get in alignment with God's will for your life and stay in alignment with a lifestyle of obedience.
There's a song we used to sing in church growing
Come
up,
on. Come on with the old hymn.
and we never sung the verses. At least I don't ever recall us singing the verses. It was only just the chorus,
Mm-hmm.
and the hymn is called "Trust and Obey." And God brought that
Mm-hmm.
song back to me this week as we were preparing for this third part, this three
Right.
part. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, I used to love that song. Used to love to sing this song." Of course.
The chorus. You used to love
Never
to sing the
took
chorus.
it true to its
Mm.
word, right?
Listen.
But
Oh.
the chorus is trust and obey, for
Mm-hmm.
there's no other way
Yes.
to be happy in Jesus, but
Woo.
to trust and obey.
Come on. Come on.
And I was
There's no
like,
other way to be happy
happy
but
in Jesus,
in Jesus.
in
But
Jesus.
come on.
Because we don't want to be happy any other way,
Oh
because any
no.
other way is temporary,
100.
right? But no other way to be happy in
Mm-mm.
Jesus but to trust and
And obey.
obey.
Good Lord.
So
Mm.
our amazing producer Danielle's going to put that link to that song, "Let
She
It Bless
has.
You,"
Yes.
in the chat tonight. But if this series, if tonight
Listen.
has been a blessing to you, let us know. If you have questions about
Mm.
this topic, let us know. You're
This
so welcome. You're so welcome.
this
Love
is
you.
good.
Love you. And
Hey,
Tisa,
Tisa, we just shouted you out earlier, girl. You did you your ears must have been burning about the out the blue.
honey, out the blue. Love you, our sister. Love
We
you.
miss you.
We want to hear from y'all. We want to know what this conversation,
Hmm.
if it's resonating with you, if there's an area of it that you're struggling in, like let us know. We want to chat about it.
Oh yeah.
We want to chat about it because this season and this time that we're all in, the obedience.
It's critical. It's critical. We don't have there is really such a slim margin. And so when we're not in full obedience, swift obedience, strategic obedience, listening to what God has told us to do, when and how and where, um, let me tell you, man, the the results of it, goodness gracious.
No,
People are dying out in these streets because somebody wasn't obedient. Like you, I'm sorry. It's such a devastation that can happen when there's disobedience, and it's such amazing triumph when it is obedience, right?
right,
When you see families with generational wealth because the first person was in obedience and it has just passed on, and then you see families in generational poverty
right.
because the first person was in disobedience and it just passes on. It's such an extreme,
Yeah.
right? Polar extreme.
Well, there is no gray in God, right?
Mm-mm.
He sees us as hot or cold.
Right.
Um, and we're loving these comments from you all. Thank you so much, Sue. Yes, the last thing we want to be is a stumbling block to
Yes.
anyone. Yeah, yeah. So
It's
good.
it's true.
Yeah. The stumbling block piece. Yeah. The last thing. The last thing we want to be, right? Because as I've heard some preachers say sometimes, we may be the only
Mm,
Bible some people ever read.
that's it. Our
And
lives are
so,
living testimonies, right?
I mean, literal,
Hmm.
literally living testimonies. And so, what is somebody reading about you? Are they
Mm,
reading that your life is full of obedience to God? Not perfect, because
right,
none of us are perfect and none of us have arrived. But are they at least seeing, you know what? There's continual growth, there's continual
right,
movement in obedience. And when that person isn't obedient, they're quick to admit it, quick to repent
right.
in order to get back in alignment with God. Like we're not staying out of
Mm,
disobedience for so long, right? And
no,
that's what we're supposed to be showing this world is what that's supposed to look like.
a lifestyle. Not that you're
Yes.
talking one thing and living something else. No.
Mhm.
Can I look at your lifestyle and not know you and know that you are a Christ follower and know that you are in God's will? If you say nothing to me and I know nothing about you,
Right.
can I look at your life? Is your life a living testimony? To what? To whom?
That part. Right.
Real
To
talk.
yourself, to yourself. Right.
Real talk.
Right.
Yeah. Because the
Right.
ripple effect on that, right, is you doing something longer than what you're supposed to, or not being where you're supposed to be, or you being linked up with someone that you're not supposed to be linked up with, or you going places where you're not supposed to be, right? And it just perpetuates. And
Mhm.
so the ripple effect is such an amazing thing because I use it as a hashtag in conjunction with divine alignment, meaning I'm in alignment with God, and divine assignment, meaning I'm doing what he's telling me to do on
Yeah.
assignment out
Mhm.
of obedience. And then there's a ripple effect, right? That four stages of acknowledging and connection and moving through life as a lifestyle. So I'd love to hear in the comments, when we think about going forward in divine alignment, I'd love to challenge you all. This is our Thanksgiving season. We know we should be grateful 365, but
Yeah.
let's be real. The North American countries, they barely make it through they barely make it through the month of November.
Right.
Barely. Okay. From wherever you're watching in the world, in these United States, people barely make it through the month of November in this country. Okay. And so I challenge you all to think about the ripple effect of gratitude, because there's a ripple effect to complaining, there's a ripple effect to criticism, there's a
Right.
ripple effect to of the negative things and the negative approaches to life and the negative heart posture, right? Being overly
Mhm.
critical, criticizing, always having judgment, always complaining, just never, there's nothing right, right? So I'm going to challenge our listeners, right, is to really think about having a ripple effect as well, on your gratitude, not just for this month, but 365 going forward, with intentionality. And I assure you that the ripple effect of being grateful
Right.
to God is going to go through your life, and the people around you is going to impact their lives, and in such a magnificent way. So think about this. I know that this is Tuesday, and if you're watching this on the replay, Thanksgiving is in 2 days in this country.
Right.
And so, just want to take a minute to just give thanks, give gratitude, and just acknowledge what the ripple effect of being grateful is about as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It blesses me. I enjoy, saying thank you. I
Hmm.
enjoy, with even no matter where I go, if I'm in the grocery store, if I'm at Chick-fil-A, no matter where I am, just saying thank you to people
Yeah, yeah.
that have helped me in some way. It's like I'm going to acknowledge you. I'm going to say thank you,
Yes.
appreciate your help, appreciate you, because honestly, this world doesn't hear enough of that.
Mm-mm.
There's so much negativity going on in this world, and there's not enough of appreciation. There's not
Right.
enough of gratitude, right? We don't
Mhm.
see it, and typically the only time we do see it in this country is if something unfortunately horrific happens, then all of a sudden everybody's so grateful and everybody's thankful and proud to be an American and all that other stuff that goes along with it. But
And
it's like where
sure.
is that? Where is that
Right.
every day,
Come on.
all day?
Yes.
The people that we are interacting with on the job, in public, on these roads. I'm still old school. I still say thank you with my hand
Right?
when I'm driving. When
When
somebody's
somebody
courteous
lets
enough to
you
let me
in.
in, that's
Yes.
that's me. I still
Yes.
say, thank you,
That
and if
courtesy.
I don't think they can see me, then I put my window down, I wave it out, like, "Hey, thank
Yes.
you." Because I'm
Yes.
just like, I appreciate God because I appreciate God
Yes.
in my life as much as I do, and because
Mhm.
I appreciate the grace that He's had with me,
Mm.
then that forces me to have gratitude for everyone else and to have grace for everyone else.
Yes.
Um, and I feel you on that challenge,
Yeah.
right? And it can certainly start small because we're all interacting with someone throughout the day,
It's true.
throughout our day. And, you know, we don't say thank you to one another enough.
I mean, even if
We
you
just
just take a
don't.
moment to just within yourself give gratitude to God, right? Everyone
Yeah.
says you're praying and you're pulling and you're asking continuously, but how many times do you stop and you just say, God, I thank you.
Just a prayer of thanksgiving and
I'm
nothing
not
else.
asking for anything right now. I just want to thank you,
Right.
right? And that thing hit me when you saw I posted, it hit me so hard today. Like literally, I felt it like grandma. Like literally, I grandma how she used to yell it out.
Yes.
Okay. And so this is what happens when you're raised by seniors. Okay. So when she would hit her in her house and she would just be like, God, I thank you. And we'd be like, who
Right.
are you talking to? Grandma
Right.
would yell it out like, and it was such a force. Like it would be like, not soft with it. Like,
Mm-mm.
God, thank
Mm-mm.
you, God. No, that thing came from her belly. It sounded like it roared up. I don't know what she was thanking God for because she never really shared it.
No.
That thing was pot. Thank you, your bishop. Right? That thing came
Right.
from the inners. I don't know what inners it came from, but she would be like, "God, I thank you." And then when the thank
Mhm.
you was like the yeah, and I was like, "Grandma, what happened? Like, I don't know what's going on inside of you right now." But it's whatever came back to her mind. Seriously,
Right.
she yelled it out, and I would be a kid around the house and be like, "Okay, God, we thank you. We don't know what's causing it." But now as an adult, oh man, like that's a random on a regular with me. Like I'm
All the
just
time.
yelling it out and
Yes.
it that's where I'm at right now.
And it
I
it and it
challenge
doesn't
you.
take much. It
No.
doesn't That's the beauty of this challenge is that it won't take you 45
Mm-mm.
minutes to an hour to sit there and think of, "What do I have to be thankful, grateful to God for? I
Hmm.
just don't know." Okay. You just took that breath.
Come on.
You could just actually formulate the thought in your mind because you're in your right mind to even be able to formulate the thought. Like it honestly, it doesn't
Yes.
take much and it won't
No.
take much.
No.
It won't take much, but it
No.
is it is beautifully contagious. I believe
Mm.
gratitude is contagious,
Yes.
right? You know, just to let people know, "Hey, I appreciate you. I am grateful for you."
Yes.
right? Then it can be that beautiful, blessed forward for somebody else, for them to then turn around and tell someone in their life the same. You know, a
Mm.
total stranger told me they were thankful for me today.
Right?
So yeah, thankful for you.
Come on, Chick-fil-A understands it to the concept that they put it in their marketing plan. You go through the
Exactly.
drive-through or walk up to the counter and somebody doesn't tell you my pleasure. They probably not going to be working there that long.
Mhm.
It's in their
No.
business marketing plan.
Yes.
It's a part of their giving when they hand you the product. That is exact whether you say thank you to them or not. They hand
Right.
you the product and they say, my pleasure. They are
Oh,
letting you know that it's our business model to give you gratitude. Like, come on. Like, you know, come on. How you not gonna be successful? First of all, you acknowledging you taking time off, right? You doing what's an alignment. How you not gonna be successful? Look at the abundance of that, right?
right.
So the ripple effect is the topic of tonight, and I really hope that
Oof.
that it blesses people. I hope you get in alignment wherever you need to be in whatever area of your life. Maybe you got a few areas you're okay with, um, and there might be an area that you're struggling with that might not be in alignment. Ask God, check in.
Yeah, and then go back to episode 1 of this season on accountability. So you can also get yourself
Mm,
ask God for an accountability partner with
mm,
that. So
that
yes, you can be
part.
checking in with God, and then God can assign you someone physically on this earth also to walk alongside you
Yes.
to bring you forward in your obedience, to help walk alongside you
Mm,
in this obedience walk, because that's what it is. It's a full lifestyle.
right.
And if you have any questions for us and you don't want to put them in the chat because you don't want to put it out for everybody, you can always message us. I know you can message us in
Yes.
Facebook.
Through the page. Yeah.
You can
Send us
always
a message.
message us. Send us messages. We love to talk scriptures over with you. We'd love to be praying for you. And if there's any way God would have us to bless you with something that we've gone through,
Mhm.
then we're always here for that. I mean, we're here live in a third season,
Come on.
being real and relevant and transparent. So,
I I encourage you, right?
oh God,
Whatever it is, God is connecting me with so many people when it comes to forgiveness because of what I've been through and walking people out through doing of the forgiveness process that God has given me. And the ripple effect of that. So let me tell you, there's a ripple effect of unforgiveness. You don't listen,
right,
death, cancer, your life is going to be impacted. And then there's a ripple effect of forgiveness and freedom and release and
right.
what that looks like in your life and in the lives of others. So every area of your life, the impact, just think about it. When you make a move, when you say a word, when you think a thought, when you take an action, when you go somewhere, when you connect with an individual, just take a pause, right? God, is this your will? Ask God and think about what is the future impact. When you make that move, when you say that word, when you think that thought, are you causing generational curses or generational blessings?
Yeah, yeah. And and like Gwen said, God has definitely given her a ministry for forgiveness, and He's given me one
Mm-hmm.
for faith and for trust in God.
Mm-hmm.
So let us know. You can message us. You can reach us even on our website
Yes.
now, tonight, too. We have a website.
Super excited. Listentalkshow.com. If you haven't been on our site, go to the site. Everything you need is there. Our new online store is there. Neil, we have our mugs, right? We love our mugs. There's merch there. Okay. So, whatever
Yes.
you like, the holiday season, our mothers loved it last week, the thought of being able to shop. Uh,
And special pricing on there right now for the holidays.
that's it.
Special, won't last long,
Yeah.
but there's special pricing on there, and everything that you buy will ship directly to you. So,
Yes.
check it
Yes.
out.
Yeah. On our site, there's links there, connecting to our YouTube where you can subscribe. There is a page on there for you to be able to submit prayer requests, right? We want to be
Yeah.
able to pray with you. So it's not just a show once a week, but again, it's the ripple effect of our obedience of even being here on these interwebs in the first place, to
Ooh.
now you can go onto the site and submit a prayer request and we will be in prayer for you. So if you don't have every link to everything, no worries. Go right to the website, and that is the one place that's going to direct you to prayer, to the store, to the YouTube with the previous channel, with the channel with the previous episodes, and seasons, and just a home base really for you, to just come back week after week, you know?
Yeah. So this tonight will be available for replay on YouTube before the end of the week so that you can
Mhm.
share it with anyone that maybe doesn't have Facebook. But we love and appreciate every share, every comment. Truly,
Yes.
so appreciative. We are grateful for our listeners. We are grateful from the
Thank you.
bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much. Everyone have a blessed Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And we're not going to let you know what next week's topic is. We just
Oh,
going to
it's a
surprise
surprise.
y'all. It's going to be a
It's a
surprise.
surprise. It's a
So
surprise. Yeah.
until next Tuesday, y'all keep listening.
Take care. Happy Thanksgiving.